So how can a chiropractor help reduce stress and anxiety? I mean, this is so common. So many people are dealing with, anxiety, whether it's from work, raising kids, financial situations. And it's amazing actually how much the spine and the health of the spine is linked to how our brain functions and how we perceive, and deal with stress and anxiety. So keeping your spine aligned and moving are huge factors. So that's really key for helping to reduce. It's not going to take away all the stress in your life as far as, the dealing with a marriage and raising kids, but keeping your spine aligned and moving will absolutely help your body deal with that stress so you don't become so overwhelmed by it. And here's the detailed answer to that question. We kind of have two states in our body. We have what's called the fight or flight state, the stress state. You guys have all heard of that probably. And then we have rest and digest state. And that's controlled neurologically. You have different parts of your brain that are involved in turning on and turning off both of those different things. So for instance, you get in an argument with your spouse and you can feel things happen in your body. Your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, you get sweaty, you get warm. And if you try and even think back, you get very emotional. And if you try and think back about what you guys were arguing about, sometimes you even have trouble remembering. These are all perfectly natural things that happen. The body works differently in a stressed state. And when we are in a fight or flight state, we become more emotional. We actually use the emotional centers of our brain and we don't use the logical centers of our brain. It's never a good idea to try and solve anything when your body's in an emotional fight or flight state, because it's just the part of your brain that does that isn't going to work correctly. Doing therapies or activities to help get your body out of that fight or flight state into the rest and digest state are important. And that's where chiropractic can really help. So exercise, sleep, breathing, these are all things that help, but chiropractic specifically, if your spine is not healthy, if your posture is off, if it's tightening the spinal cord, if the joints are not moving, these are all things that influence the neurologic balance in our brain that pushes us into a fight or flight response. It's amazing what percentage of the population, and not just in adults, even in kids with things like ADD and ADHD, focus, behavior issues, outbursts, because of what's happening in their spine. And not solely, but it can contribute to that. And so spinal adjustments, and we've seen this in our office for years, just help people balance, become more centered, which really in a neurologic perspective means get out of the fight or flight response, back into the rest and digest response, change the neurologic setup in your body so that you become a better version of yourself.